Ja, herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Ausgabe SI Talk und ich bin nach wie vor in Vancouver. Heute eine ganz neue Firma. Anoop ist bei mir CEO und Direktor der Firma und es geht nicht um Rohstoffe. Das kann ich schon mal sagen. Das ist schon mal sehr selten, denn Vancouver ist bekannt für seine Rohstoffe. Anoop, thank you for your time. I said it's not a resource company, and this is very unusual for this town.
Yeah.
Then Vancouver is well known for resource, but already new technology is coming up. Not new technology. Your company is still around for some years, but you have a very interesting technology. So what are you doing? What are your company doing?
So Star Navigation is an aviation technology company that takes real-time data from an aircraft and brings it to the ground to build real-time trends, analytics that enhance safety, optimize operations, help with fuel savings, sustainability. We help build a connected aircraft. And the way we do it is by building a digital twin of an aircraft with real-time sensors and parameters on the digital front.
Okay, so that means you always know exactly where the plane is, how the engine looks like, how the fuel consumption looks like, everything in real time.
Absolutely. So we have a hardware system that gets installed on the aircraft. That hardware taps into all the different data buses on an aircraft, such as engines, air conditioners, fuel, how a pilot performs, landing gear information, any sensors, parameters that's digital on an aircraft, we tap into that. We analyze that in flight. We call that edge computing, and it's the world's first in-flight safety monitoring system. So we analyze all of that information while an aircraft is flying. We find out the key parameters that need to be sent to the ground, such as the altitude, the height of the aircraft, the engine condition, is it banking too much? Where are the flap conditions? So we send all of that every 5 minutes, 10 minutes to the ground. Now we're building a ecosystem on the ground which has real-time information from an aircraft that is flying. We are building a connected aircraft.
So that means also then when you see maybe before the pilot feel it or see something, then there are so many data coming into a plane immediately at the same time. So maybe you see some when the plane is running in troubles. You see it a little bit earlier than normally the pilot maybe.
If a pilot sees something, he might get alerts and notifications, but the operators on the ground will also get the notifications. What's most important is that we can start to look at, let's use an engine because you use that as an example, we can start looking at vibration levels, oil pressures. So we can start building trends on the ground while an aircraft is still flying. And with those trends, we can start having the engineers predict if something is going to go wrong or inform the destination maintenance crew to check certain parts for an engine so that they can have a quick turnaround for the aircraft, and it reduces unplanned maintenance.
And this is very cost important unplanned maintenance for the carriers.
Absolutely. One of the biggest problems with the aviation industry is the fact that it's very reactive. An aircraft flies, information is extracted manually from it, analysis are done, but there's so much data, so many aircraft that are being flown that sometimes things are missed or it's a very reactive way. You might have heard of accidents that happen. Black boxes need to be extracted. Sometimes they have to be found from under the ocean. That data comes out. It takes months and months to decode, to analyze that information, to find out what went wrong. We are a proactive system. We can replace the black box by taking all the black box and the aircraft data from a flying aircraft to the ground.
Okay, that sounds for me that nearly every carrier or every plane should have this. But what is the execution plan? Is it already installed by some planes or?
Yes. We're installed on the VVIP jet. It's by the King of Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
So we're installed there. It's been installed for the last 5 years. We are getting real-time data from the aircraft to the ground. One of the biggest use cases that they found our system to be valuable is they found vibrations which the engineers didn't see. And when they found the vibrations, they were able to take proactive action to fix that engine. Another aircraft of theirs didn't have our system. They had a fault, and the aircraft was grounded, and they lost revenues because of that.
Okay.
So now you can see the value of our system. It's a very proactive. It helps digitalize older aircrafts, and it helps basically build a comprehensive one-stop shop for an operator. Everything from you get reports, it automates all the data that's coming off an aircraft. You can help with financing in terms of fuel efficiency, fuel burn. We can help with maintenance reports. We can help with safety reports. We can help with regulatory reports. So everything becomes very automated now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds good. But how the strategy to create now revenue? So how is the rollout strategy?
So the rollout strategy is our technology is already approved by the FAA, Transport Canada. So there's very high barriers to entry because we have a complete ecosystem of hardware, software, and data analytic tools. So now the key is, how do we bring awareness to the market? How do we show the return on investment to the operators and the maintenance companies out there? We're doing that by doing roadshows. We are in Africa right now, where we're focusing most of our attention improving the skies for Africa, because Africa is an emerging market. They are thirsty for technology. And when they see a Canadian company that can digitalize and modernize their aviation fleet, they are absolutely loving us. Now the key is, how do we showcase the value, the return on investments, because they don't have big budgets the way the Western world does. So we are trying to work with them in terms of leasing, subscription as software as a service, SaaS models, so that it lowers their expenditure, upfront cost. It can help them install the system, create value from that, and it helps Star Navigation now have installations on a lot of aircrafts. We collect all the data. We can further innovate with artificial intelligence, actionable insights that we can now give back to operators and other airlines around the world to improve the aviation industry.
Okay, so coming a little bit more to details or contract numbers, what do you expect in the next 12 months? How many planes should fly with your system? Or hopefully you sign deals with them?
I call it the road to 300. My target is to get 300 confirmed orders by the end of the year.
Okay.
The way we're doing it is, there's big players that we're talking to. We're talking to an OEM that is potentially thousands of aircraft. We're talking to Ethiopian Airlines, Egypt Air. We just announced we're talking to LATAM. Each one of them have about upwards of 150, 200 aircraft. So even getting a deal with one or two of them, I will be able to reach my goal of 300 aircraft.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but when you reach the 300 aircrafts, what does this mean on revenue for a company? And bottom line, when you think you make profit, or how many aircrafts you need that you make profit?
To make profit, very good question. Our company has no debt. So whatever we are making, we have a very healthy margin on that, and we are giving it back to the operators. So I think we'll be pretty positive cash flow very quickly with the number of installations. Since we are a software as a service, a SaaS revenue model, we are going to be getting monthly revenues from the installations. So for shareholders, for investors looking at Star Navigation, that's a very positive sign. We're not just selling a unit. We are actually going to be getting monthly revenues from it. What's most important is the fact that because we are an innovative company that's always evolving, we can build more features that can generate additional revenue streams. So we just won't stop. We're going to be looking at more engineering, more innovation, working with the airlines as consultants. How can we improve their fuel efficiency, sustainability, perhaps more predictive maintenance, proactive safety? Once we figure those out, we'll be able to give those features back to them and generate more revenue. For
Especially
Star.
when you have 300 planes under contract. You have different planes then under contract. You get data from, for example, 737 and so on, and then you can see maybe what's airline going well and what other going wrong, and this and that, and understandable. Okay, road to 300. The next to the end year, we say the next 12 months. So how the share structure looks like? How many shares are outstanding? What is the market cap? Is there any bigger groups they are holding the stock, and still you need some financing for sure that you can make all this the running cost and so on. So how it looks like?
So we have about 960 million outstanding shares. We have about 500 million warrants at 5 cents. So in the last few months, there have been a lot of investors who believe in the company. They're seeing where we are headed. They started to exercise their warrants. We should be getting about $20 to $25 million just in warrant money. So Star Navigation will be pretty self-sustained. We'll be getting deposits from the installations. One thing that I didn't touch on was the fact that besides aviation, because we are able to tap into digital units, get the data and bring it to the ground, we are now in talks with the Kenyan government for a LabSat project. So the LabSat is a big infrastructure project being held by Kenyan government, and so they are working with Star Navigation right now to track and monitor all the boats, the vessels, navy, trains, trucks, sea containers.
Okay. Wow, that's a total new area.
You didn't know about this? Yes.
No.
Yes. So besides aviation, they are looking at using the same kind of technology, the same architecture. How can we bring that to modernize the government level? So now fishing boats, there's a lot of cargo coming into Kenya in the next few years. Kenya is a big market. How do you track all the tariffs? How do you help security? National security is a big issue. They're looking at so many different ways to optimize supply chain. And that's where Star Navigation is going to be helping them with as well. And so we had a letter of intent that was signed back in October last year to showcase that Star Navigation and the Kenyan government are working together. We are in deeper conversations, let's just say, in terms of getting these contracts finalized. Really hoping by the summertime we should be able to get that as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what we are not talking about, aviation means not only the private aviation, it's so the carrier, what we know.
Yeah.
It's included also military.
Yes. Yeah.
Also the private planes, they are flying around. So a lot of planes are around.
Yeah.
So it's a huge market, but I don't think about it. The whole infrastructure can be also monitored with this way.
And modernized, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. So. Coming back, share structure we have, financing should be out of the warrants. Then is the question, you say also that is really easily, you have no debt on it, that you come in positive EBITDA. When we are now making a fast forward, how the companies looks like in 3 years?
3 years. 3 years, we want to be on the NASDAQ.
Okay.
It's a technology company. It's a Canadian company. We belong on the NASDAQ where we have more awareness for technology. Yeah. Our technology is going to revolutionize the aviation world. We need to be where more eyes are on us. We get more support from institutional investors. More importantly, innovation. We want to be able to acquire the best talent for artificial intelligence, for machine learning, for further innovations. And hopefully one day, I can talk to Elon Musk and find out how can we link with Starlink to build a better, faster, connected aircraft. How can we start working with maybe the Microsofts, the Amazons of the world to start working on proactive, predictive maintenance and truly revolutionize aviation industry. Earlier, you and I were talking about benchmarking. Once we have all the data, we can benchmark, so we can say an aircraft flying from New York to London has probably flown many, many times. We can start putting machine learning on it and figure out how can we benchmark, how can we change the way pilots fly to optimize operations, to reduce fuel consumptions, to improve sustainability. So there's a lot. As long as you have data, I always say real-time data at your fingertips, imagine the possibilities.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, wow. Yeah, that's very interesting. Thank you for the first introduction to your company. Was really a great one. Da gibt es viel zum Besprechen. Also es geht darum, Monitoren der... Ich hätte zuerst Flugzeuge nur gesagt, also nicht nur die Flugzeuge, die wir kennen, Verkehrsflugzeuge, sondern auch Militär- und Privatjets und so weiter. Aber er hat es ja auch gesagt im Interview, es geht noch viel, viel weiter. Man kann alles quasi monitoren, was Infrastruktur betrifft, ob das Züge ist, quasi Schiffe und so weiter. Sie haben auch ein LOI unterschrieben mit Kenia, damit die das quasi monitoren und dort ein Showcase aufbauen, wie das dort dementsprechend ausschauen kann. So, und das heißt, Sie kriegen eigentlich Realtime-Daten quasi, jetzt gehen wir zurück zum Flugzeug, von dem Flugzeug selber. alles, was an Daten vorhanden ist, Vibrationen, Öldruck, Höhe, wo sind sie genau, welche, ja, was wird momentan verbrannt, all das, diese ganzen Daten werden in Realtime quasi runtergesendet und dort auch analysiert, was automatisch natürlich Probleme vorzeitig aufzeigt. Also wenn zum Beispiel erhöhte Vibrationen sind, dann können Sie dementsprechend auch Informationen zur nächsten Flughafen leiten, dass das technische Team sich das Problem anschaut und damit kann man die Standzeiten reduzieren und das wiederum ist natürlich ein Riesenvorteil für die ganzen Carrier, die rundum sind. Sie haben schon Installationen laufen, Sie haben alle Permits, die sie brauchen, damit sie auch fliegen dürfen. Also da kommt nicht jeder in den Markt rein. Das ist schon mal sehr gut, weil das eine Barrier ist für andere, die dort eintreten wollen. Die müssen zuerst das machen. Sie haben Installationen schon laufen. Sein Ziel ist, bis Jahresende 300 unterschriebene Flugzeuge quasi unter Kontrakt zu haben. Sie haben relativ viele Aktien draußen, 960 Millionen. 500 Millionen haben sie in Warrant draußen stehen mit 5 Cent. Die werden jetzt langsam auch exekutiert. Das sind 25 Millionen, was in Cash reinkommen würden. Das reicht, um ein Business dementsprechend hochzusehen. Sie haben keine Schulden und dadurch kann das relativ schnell hochgezogen werden. Also meine letzte Frage war, wo sieht er sich in 3 Jahren? In 3 Jahren hofft er natürlich, dass er bei vielen anderen Carriers drinnen ist, so viele Daten haben, dass er auch Benchmarking machen kann, dass er zum Beispiel auch dann sagen kann, okay, andere Airlines brauchen so und so viel für einen Flug. Wir haben da als Beispiel, hat er New York, London angewählt. Wie kann man besser fliegen? Wie kann der Pilot Öl, also Benzin einsparen oder Kerosin einsparen? Solche Sachen. Dann hofft er natürlich auch, dass er an der Nasdaq ist. Er sagt, Sie müssen an die Nasdaq, weil dort ist die Technologiebörse in Kanada, ist nicht unbedingt bekannt für seine Technologiestocks, aber sehr wohl für Rohstoffe und deswegen muss er natürlich an die Nasdaq und er möchte natürlich mit Elon Musk einen Deal machen bezüglich Starlink, das wäre natürlich auch noch ein Thema. Also er hat seine Pläne, er ist sehr überzeugend, glaube ich, und das macht sicher spannend. Ja, das war's von Star Navigation im April 2023 aus Vancouver. Tschüss und Baba, pfiat euch. Thank you.
Thank you.